All right, welcome again. Hopefully now my computer won't be losing its mind and we can get on with what we were doing before, right? All right, let's see if I can get a quick sound check here. Hello? Can y'all hear me? Is anybody out there? All right, well, episode 6 of the MOMW show, take 2. Here we go. And so the purpose of today's stream is not to focus on the website, as we typically do, but as we seldom do, I'm going to be working on a OpenMW-Lua mod. And the mod in question would be an extension to my Go Home NPC Schedules mod. And it's going to be a standalone feature of the mod that's not going to require the scheduling piece necessarily. And I think the reason why I'm going that route rather than having another separate mod is because with Go Home, I take a dynamic approach with the script, right? I use an engine handler to look at NPCs when they first load up and then decide if they're interesting to me, if I need to give them a schedule or whatever. And a similar approach definitely can work for doors, right? When you load up a cell or whatever, we can look at each door. There's good code for that in the OpenMW-Lua API. It's very inexpensive act, and we can look for, I don't know, patterns in those doors, right? And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have it be a separate plugin, but part of the package. You don't require the schedules or, the locks if you have one or the other. But they're going to use similar patterns, and so I will probably end up sharing some code between the two. But for now, we're going to probably end up just looking at how I've done things in Go Home and borrowing from them, so to say. So let's go ahead and open up that code now. Let's see here. Okay, so this would be the aforementioned Go Home code I was referring to that we'll need to borrow from, but specifically there's onObjectActive. Here we go. And so this would be the magical code that Go Home runs, where we touch an NPC once, and only once actually, and we decide, do we want to do the Go Home thing to them. And so the door locks is going to work in a similar way, and I have just only begun to kind of make the idea reality with just a bare, just a little function here that says a true or false if it's a lockable door or something that we want to actually care about. And really, I only implemented just a few things that you'll find in Satanin. That's where you spawn by default when you're doing a test run and you don't, give a cell. I think that's like at least that's the default my script fills in. That's where I end up. So we do the same kind of thing here. It's not on actor active, right? We're not looking at actors anymore. It's on object active. Ooh, my laptop is just... I really think, okay. We're going to close Discord, honestly. All right. Wow. Oh, well, this is there we go. Okay. That was a little stream lag. I just noticed my CPU going crazy there, so I closed Discord. I had Discord open, so my MOMW squad friends could join if they were free. However, it's going to make the stream, untodly. We can't have that. So I closed Discord. Hopefully that makes things better, and I apologize about that. Moving on. So what we have here is just, again, some really simple code that I started to do that will look at doors. And I implemented the stuff around Satanin, as I was saying, before my CPU went nuts. And then I had some other ideas of things that I just kind of went to the major towns and thought, okay, open the game on this display and have a terminal on this display, and let's look at the kinds of just this code right here. Actually, I should have explained first, is just looping through all the doors and doing a little bit of decision making here. We have if it's blacklisted, because there's some doors obviously you don't want to even mess with at all that might maybe match a pattern, you know, that you're defining somewhere else. So just explicitly say no to those. But then, yeah, we check if the cell also is not blacklisted here. Another thing. So we don't want to, like, for example, in Satanine, lock a real straight house. It's a bar, right? Feels like a place that should be 24/7. I don't know. So anyways, that's up for debate. Possibly. And then we just, so we print out the name of every single door right here. The code looks a little confusing because it says desk cell name. What? That's how we are deciding the name of a door. Looks like my laptop is still geeking out even with Discord closed. Well, that's not good. Okay. Hopefully it stays good there. Okay, as I was saying, we judge the name of a door because it doesn't, maybe in the CS, we can even take a look at that. Maybe in the CS, the field name is door, but I want to say it's cell. Let's demystify that right now. Always like a good, no. Oh my goodness. I like a good excuse to open OpenMW-Cs. Okay. And we have my, I enlarged the font so my old man eyes can look at stuff on my laptop display, which is a pretty high resolution display, admittedly. I need reading glasses, probably. Okay. Objects. And we want to look at record type. Door. And yeah, look at this. So we have name is definitely a separate thing, but it's not what we're looking for. You know what? I don't like scrolling horizontally. Let's just go ahead and let's look at it this way. Okay, so we're not going to find out on a object. I don't think we have to look at instances that are doors. Because no object, I'm blanking here. No object, which is like the template of, hey, Gonzo, welcome. I had to, thank you for joining. I had to close Discord. I still, I went back to my vanilla kernel. If you didn't view the stream yesterday, there was like some serious lag issues. I thought I found it was caused by me also recording at the same time as streaming, but it turns out it was still happening today, even with the vanilla Linux kernel unpatched. And so then I closed Discord, so that's why I'm not in the voice, and I'm sorry. But thank you for being here. I hope I sound okay. We're just looking at door instances, or trying to look at door instances. So let's do that. I can no longer look at the kind of type it is, unfortunately. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. We need, somebody is going to like throw a pie in my face for saying this, but we need OpenMW-Cs SQL. Like a true relational query where I can be like, instances and object, I can query, fields on objects of an instance, so I wouldn't have to do this shenanigans here. Anyways, just a thing that I will rant at Sector about, probably. Alright, why are we not getting a... I feel like my thing here should have matched. Oh, right, okay. Object ID, here we go, okay. And so, yeah. Among other things, when you look at a door, you've got cell, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got object, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got cell, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got object, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got cell, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got object, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got cell, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got object, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got cell, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got object, if it goes somewhere, right? If it's not a just for looks kind of door, which those are a thing. You've got cell, if it go more in other games, but sometimes mods implement them. You have a cell, okay? And so that's why my code, coming back here, that's why my code says dest cell name, and I consider that the door name for the intents and purposes of this feature. So let's load into the game and see what that looks like. Closing the CS first. Excuse me, I need this log real estate here. Okay. Hopefully I'm not potatoing too hard here. It's looking somewhat mixed. Ooh, okay. You know what? Before we do this, I'm going to go ahead and... believe it or not, I'm working on a few mods at once. And one of them is in particular a little chatty. This distant fixes. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. So let's go ahead and just disable that. Whoops. Let's disable that so it doesn't take up my log buffer with stuff I don't care about right now. And let's not change exterior. Yeah. And go back to my code. That code. All right. We're off. Okay, great. And with that, we close the game because I've got what I needed. So this is, again, going back to the code, it's the result of what we get through here. So again, let's take it from the top. onObjectActive. So when something is loaded up into the active grid, ooh, I saw that laggy arm flail. Yikes. All right, I'm gonna try something here. So hopefully deep potato my stream, and hopefully I don't break it. All right, I turned off one of my displays, just 2 now. Here we go. So, we have one engine handler going on here in a global script that is helpfully named global.lua to remind you of the context. You need not do that, though. You could name it Todd Howard Fan Club Extraordinaire.lua if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend such names. You do you. All right. And maybe with this I can hop back in the... I'm going to try something here, Gonzo. Hold up. All right, my man. If you want to join me in the chat... Blammo, I'm in there. If you want to hop in.
Testing, testing.
Hiya. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, yeah. So as soon as I did that, my thing lagged out again. But let's just roll with this for now and see how bad it gets. Ooh. But I might have to piece out of the Discord voice. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways,
it's totally fine.
Okay. Yeah. How are you doing today, Gonzo?
Doing great.
So what we just did, we loaded up Satanine. Excuse me. We loaded up Satanine, and we looked at all the doors. Right. onObjectActive happens on a thing when it loads into the active grid. Okay, the active grid being like the square around the player, and then the like 8 other squares around that square. So when something enters into the active grid, onObjectActive happens, and this is where we say, is it a door? That's what this code does. And is it one that we want to ignore? Not one that we want to ignore. Blah, blah, blah. And so now what we've gotten here is, oof. How bad is the lag, Gonzo? Be honest with me.
Yeah, it's pretty jittery.
Oof, okay. I'm dropping out of Discord. Ciao, my dude, and apologies.
No worries. Take care.
Yeah.
I'll be watching.
All right. In an attempt to rescue my... Oof, there it goes down a little bit. All right. Now, so... this is all well and good. Well, right, we got names of doors. Okay. I mostly just did this to get an idea of what would become this list, right? So what do we do with the doors now that we can snag them out of the world? Let's take a look, because I'm not exactly sure. So we open up the Lua documentation for OpenMW, and we'll want to navigate to the types package. And we have a door functions that we're interested in. Lockable, okay. Door record. We want the... No. Okay. Oh, type lockable. Interesting. Sounds like an interface name. Okay. Well, so maybe before we get too crazy, I'm noticing my processor's still geeking out. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm like tempted to blow on it. All right, let's load the game. Before I get too crazy trying to write code that doesn't work, what we can actually do is use the Lua console in the game to get an idea of anything, really. So let's just come up here. We'll go ahead and pick on the Fargoth. We'll type Lua S to give us a shell on the thing that's selected. Lua S for selected. And so now, suddenly, we can do stuff like self. I don't know. Let's just try lockable object. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Try lockable object is instance of. Okay. A mystery. So this I will expect. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, we're getting closer. So what about self? Name. Okay, it's not the door record then. So it's record. Self type. Self name. Okay, getting there. Okay. Okay, I am a type of myself. Great. It's lockable. Great. Whoop. Base type. Okay. Ooh, okay, so I failed to notice that before. Interesting. So let's do this. Self type. I understand now. Yes, get lock level self. Aha. Yes. So what just happened? I realized being that the base type of a door is lockable, which is nice, very nice. That means that I can, in addition to the things that are listed as available for door and door record, I also have access to things available to the base type, which is lockable. Obviously, doors are not the only thing in the game that you can lock. You can lock a container. Sadly, you cannot lock somebody's mouth. If you're playing with NPC audio mods, maybe you're like me and you're getting a little alarmed by every NPC, you know, when you play as a vampire. Oof. I won't go into details. All right. So let's try something else here. Okay. Good, good. Okay. So, what is the point of doing all this? What was the point of this exercise? Well, as we're scanning doors for the mod, excuse me, we really only want to do, Eltario, welcome, good day, good afternoon, probably closer to evening. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you're here. So we only want to do this init thing on doors once, right? Like, we don't want to be looking at a door and deciding if we care about it every time. That's just wasteful. And we really have to write Lua mods like whoa, not punch the microphone, but we have to write Lua mods, you know, thinking about how much CPU or GPU we're wasting, because it's a real thing. For example, Total Overhaul mod list has like, I don't know, 150 Lua scripts at least, right? So it's no big deal to just like do some nonsense in onObject, but like if you have 100 mods doing nonsense in onObject, it becomes no good. So we want to avoid that long term. For now, we're just doing it quick and dirty, Todd style. But we do need to like record information about the doors. So we want to just let's make a table here. Scene doors, and in which we will record. Oh, come on, Lua. There we go. My Lua language server, I tell you. So what we're going to do is we're going to record doors that we have seen that we care about. And so now we're back here in this code. Okay, for now I'm just going to... We don't have a message helper just yet. I don't need that. Okay. Long term, I would like to maybe have a function to manage doing this for me, but for now we're just gonna put stuff in our scene doors database by hand. And we are going to use, it's important to call this out. We're going to use, in order to track if we have seen something, we're going to use the ID field. But there is a very important caveat. Let me see. Here we go. Game object ID. And so I want to just call out this right here. Game object ID. Every game object has it. Okay? A door has it. A light has it. Fargoth's has it. Fargoth's pet pig has it. Everything has it. Dagothur's gold tooth has it. Everything. A unique ID of this object, not record ID, can be used as a key in a table. And just for the edification of you, the viewer, we're going to go ahead and just demonstrate what the heck that actually is before I continue on about the important caveat that we must note. Okay. You may recall in my code, I said, oh yeah, found lockable door, and here we are. And this right here would be your ID. We looked at it a little bit, I think last week, when Sector helped us kind of demystify the encoding that goes on to turn this into a form ID. But this is it. If you're not familiar with the internals of Morrowind mods, this kind of a thing in generally in an ESM plugin, these values, would not change. However, if you've got a load order with ESPs, it is possible for these to change. And that poses a problem for this mod. It poses a problem for Go Home, the NPC scheduling part. And it poses a problem really for any mod that uses the field as directed here as a key in a table. For example, to track unique things. It's not a problem in the API per se or in the engine per se. It's just like a conceptual problem in general. How does the engine know, right, if it's not like specially baked into the plugin as it is with ESM, you know, what exactly this value is? You could move things around in your load order. You could add another plugin. And so I've seen some somewhat bizarre things happen with Go Home. And what we try to advise folks to do with that is, as it's documented here, is we basically say, turn off Go Home. If you must change your load order, turn off Go Home, which is in the settings menu, and then do your thing. And then turn it back on. It's going to need to be the case with this. And again, any mod that uses the ID is going to have to be careful about this. Depending on what the mod does, maybe you don't need to care, right? In the case of Go Home, we're disabling NPCs. So if we lose track of their ID, that's very bad. That means that, we just have like a random disabled NPC somewhere that you have to manually intervene with the console to rescue. In the case of door locks, it's annoying for sure, but maybe it's less detrimental because, what's going to happen? We have a locked door or unlocked door. We can just see it again. We're not like touching it really in a way that is so offensive as to like disable it with NPCs. So, yeah, we still nonetheless, though, it is an issue, and the final product of this mod will likely have some like on save load code that will garbage collect, IDs that don't have a valid object on them. Indeed, I wonder if we're even able to serialize door objects. Let's go ahead and just do this. You got to think about what you're putting into a save file, indeed. So let's think about it now. Data. If you've never written an OpenMW-Lua mod before, we have the ability, obviously, to save and load data with the save file. What you put in there is up to you, but do be mindful. Because, again, you're putting stuff in the save file. So that means the more you put in there, the longer it's going to take to make a save file. So because OpenMW saving is not yet asynchronous, it does pause the game to do it. So just be mindful about that. And this little line here is if you were to load this mod, for example, on an existing save, there would be no data. And so the code I'm about to write would fail, or that I would write here. I'm not going to actually put anything in there just yet. What we will do, though, is we are going to do, actually, scene doors. Let's just put that in there. Scene doors. I want to see, can we serialize door objects? We can serialize self in some contexts, like the player, or NPC self objects get saved in the Go Home part of Go Home. There we go. And so the engine is going to yell. Basically, if you can't, the engine is going to yell at you and be like, hey, you can't do that. And it won't actually save. Or it will save maybe with not the data that you wanted to, that you thought you could. Door. I'll just say object. All right. Just a little experiment here. Let's do it. Okay. Great. And so, actually, we just save the game. Let's see what happens. Leaving it. Huh, okay, yeah, so you can totally serialize door references. Cool. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and... It's a bit redundant to call it the field a door, in my opinion, so I'm going to say it's obj, because that's what it is. Initial state. No? Oh, jeez. There we go, there we go. All right. Let's go back to our friendly neighborhood documentation. Is locked. I don't know if we can actually change these things, if I should record them or not. I'm going to err on the side of caution. We can always cut it out later if we don't need it. I'm trying to decide what. So we're looking at a door for the first time. What do we need to jot down about it in case, because I want to bake in a factory reset feature for this. So we can, you know, go back to a known good state if we want to. So let's go ahead and just record all this stuff here. Key record. Yeah, so I wonder what a not. Let's go in the let's go in the game. I wonder what if a not locked door is 0, then I don't need to say lock true or false. I can just say lock level. Come on now. Whoa. You know what I need to do. Use my LQ option to turn off the water shader for me. Maybe that'll lag my stuff out less. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay. Right. Let's go ahead and look at, we got BCUM loaded here, by the way. Let's go ahead and look at this one. Beautiful. Okay, none of that is interesting to me right now. Nor really is any of this, because we're not obviously we're not going to change the dest cell of a door. That would be bonkers. So really, that's all we care about. Can you even change the... Yeah, you can change the key record. We aren't going to be changing it, so really all we care about is the lock level. And so this brings me to kind of the point where we need to think about, all right, when we lock a door, when the time comes, we'll have some heuristic, I'm not sure what, you know, to help us determine, yes, we're going to lock it, but how strong should it be locked? Excuse me, or maybe we can't, or maybe we could do interesting things like, so this is definitely separate mod territory, but you can have like a bandit mod that legit like invades a town, locks the doors, you got to go get the key, you know, back from the bandit or something. Maybe that's extreme, but that's an idea. All right. Anyways, going way into the weeds. Let's go ahead and this is, you know, this is one of my favorite functions here. in the aux-util package. Let's go ahead and just if scene. And this, friends, is how we prevent the script from, you know, doing so much work every single time they see a door. Just a very computationally simple check here. Okay, we're checking a set here. A set meaning it's a list of things that are have a key, simply a key as a value. So you can very quickly filter it in a table like this. And if it's as it just says, basically in plain English here, if the object is a seen door, then just bail out. We don't need to do this every time. Again, similar code in Go Home. All right. But now going back to here, I thought of that line because I'm about to print out some spam, and I don't want that to just be continuously coming out. I want to see what it is and digest it. Aux-util deep to string. Scene doors. Now we're gonna 10. It's probably too deep, but whatever. 10 is it limits how deep it will print a table. So deep to string will take a table, which in Lua table is a key value thing, like this thing. And it will print it out, you know, so you can see what it is. But it limits because it's, you know, expensive to do computationally. I usually just put like a very high number there because I usually want to see everything. Okay. Oh boy. All right. So, yeah. We basically got the whole thing of seen doors for every single door there was. That's fine for now, but we're not keeping that, obviously. So let's kill the game. All right. So this is basically it. This is the information we're saving. We arguably don't even need to save. Well, yeah, we do. I was going to say we don't need to save the lock level, but we're going to be changing that. All right. Found lockable door. So here's where we're going to start to make something that resembles code I want to look at in the future. Found lockable door, record ID, and then here I'm going to put another one. And this is going to give us some log output that says the record ID of the door, but also of interest to us while developing. Honger, hello, good day. Thank you for joining. Didn't yet get to the bottom of my lagginess. Yeah, absolutely, that's right. This is the door locking code you're looking at right here in its infancy, right? I'm kind of... So far, all I have is just some very simple code that when a door first loads, looks at it and says, is this something that we potentially want to lock, right? And so we've gotten this far, and I'm kind of working now on our log output, because one thing that's really useful in general when you're programming, but certainly when you are coding with OpenMW-Lua, is have some log output to give you an idea what's going on, with the addendum of that as being, you know, don't make your release mod spam a bunch of stuff to the log. It makes it hard to find legitimate problems in a big setup, but also it costs performance, right? If you're like spamming stuff into the log, that's your computer is doing that, you know. So don't do that. For now, we're just, without thinking about it really too much, we're just using print. But in the final mod, we wouldn't do that. We would have some other function that says, oh, is, you know, debug logging on. But so for now, I want to see this stuff, and I don't want to see that. Yeah. So let's just go ahead and put this back in there. Oh, you know what? We can compromise, actually. I don't have to see all the scene doors. Yeah. We can just be like, scene doors. ID. There we go. Yeah. That'll give us something to look at. Okay. And so it's like automated. Earlier, I was in the console looking at doors here. And this is what we're doing here with the log stuff is sort of like an automated way. Ooh. Hold up. Oh, okay. Sheesh, yeah. I done goofed. Hold on. There we go. That's a whole lot of nothing there. I think the most tricky part of this mod is going to be design, really. As I was saying before, number one, you know, when to decide when to lock a door. Maybe not so hard of a problem there. I think a harder problem, per se, is okay, how strong of a lock, when it gets locked, how strong of a lock is it? You know, does it depend on the... We could go as far as to load the cell and look at the NPC inside and get a readout of their stats. Do they have a good security skill? Should that, you know, determine? I don't know. Seems like a decent idea, kind of. All right. Now our log, though, is a bit more useful here. Found lockable door, record ID, and this is the reason why we think it's lockable, because of where it goes. And it matches our patterns. All right, cool. So if we just sanity check ourselves. Excuse me. Coffee coming up. If we just sanity check ourselves here, let's just look at some of the doors that the code thinks we should care about. So far, I think we pretty much nailed it. These are all people I am well acquainted with while developing the NPC schedules portion of Go Home. Some of them I can't wait to bring outside, such as Findmouth, although, you know, only when a related quest is completed. Eventually, we'll take indoor NPCs. We'll try at least, see if it works. Indoor NPCs, make them have a normal schedule too. But I do recognize these doors. And they're people's houses. Therese Gurvain. I love that name. All right. Yeah, so these are people's doors. Great. So at this point, I think we need, in order to prevent, so right now we're only recording doors that we care about in our scene doors, but really we need to tell it. There's a few ways we can approach this. I think it's probably Yeah, okay, great question, Hunger. So you need not rerun... First off, you need not rerun the script on every cell change. That is one way to do it, perhaps with MW script. Getting a little bit ahead of myself here, what I was planning on doing was making a timer that would basically... Taking an approach that is used by my Go Home NPC schedule mod, basically has a timer that runs in the global script. It looks at a table of objects, such as our scene doors table here, and then it sends an event to the player to find out, is this something that's close to you? And if the player script sends back an event that says yes, then we do stuff, right? And so that's what I'm thinking about doing here is, and I found that to be pretty computationally light too, right? Like Lua is pretty good at just looping through stuff pretty quick. And sending events is relatively inexpensive and quick. And so that's what I was planning on doing, is just doing a quick check of, is the thing nearby? If so, what's the schedule? Do we lock it? Do we unlock it? So now I'm interested in your thought about, like, so we have, for example, I don't know, Indrel Rathrion's shack. Indrel walks around during the day. You know, does that mean she unlocks her shack during the day? I feel like in a backwoods place like Satanin, perhaps people are keeping their shacks unlocked during the day. But like in Balmora, maybe I'm locking my door when I leave. I don't know. If we're going to go there, woof. Stream lagging. It's not just you. If we're going to go there, we need a good way to figure out, is something a city? You know, we could say like, you know, we could do something like, I'm just going to type it out here for funsies. So as we look at doors, we can also keep like a cell door count table, and then we could say, as we look at doors, we could count every door for this purpose, and maybe a city is a place that has a door count above some threshold, and you know, maybe over a dozen or two. Interesting. Well, let's try to do that now, actually. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. In particular with mods like BCOM, where you have an NPC walking around outside, doors locked, in addition to them being inside, doors locked. And then again, there's some, like our other girl here with the fantastic name, Therese. She's just inside. Therese. She's just inside, door unlocked. I believe you can just walk straight into her house. So it's a toss-up, really. But I'm curious, though, if this crappy algorithm I just invented right now, metric for determining if we're in a city, is it decent? So what I want to do is we will count doors per cell, and then I'm going to add a console command to print that information out or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on save. And then we'll see, like, we'll go to Saint Denis, how many doors? We'll go to Saran, how many doors? You know, it might be a very fine line between, you know, village and city. We'll see. All right. Yes, I made it. Okay. So we're going to have to do two things here. Going to make this 2 loops because we care about all doors, but then we only care about some doors, right? So for the purpose of caring about all doors, why do we care about all doors? Well, we need to, let's go ahead and managed true. We need to know if we care about something, right? So we're going to leave some breadcrumbs here. Seen doors. We'll know we've seen a door. ID. We'll say managed. False. That's wrong, first off. Because we want to... Here, an else right here. This will probably be like a extra noisy log entry, but I'm leaving it here for now, and we're going to say unmanaged door. And then later on in our code, we need only do something like, to see, you know, is this something that we manage? Should we do something with it? You know, we have this trait that's going to be on every door. And then also, in here, we're going to say cell door count. So, okay. So not every door is going to be in a cell that has a name. I don't exactly know what we're going to do about that. right now we're just going to handle for when it does. I'm going to say cell. So if it doesn't have a name, we'll make up a name. We'll do something like I do with signpost fast travel, where I create a string based on the cells that it's in, XYZ coordinates, something like that. It'll work fine. Let's see here. So if So if there's already a value, my language server, if there's already a value, increment it, which I learned Lua 5.3 actually has like a plus equal sign increment operator. That's kind of neat. Come on, language server. I want to know if that's actually bad. Okay. That is a replacement syntax to this that would look something like, instead of what we have here, whoops, it would be like, you know, which, yeah, that's bunk syntax in Lua, OpenMW-Lua, probably forever. I don't know if we'll ever, because we're not based on Lua exactly. We're using something called Lewitt, which is a different implementation. Okay. So if we've got already a record, increment it. If not, start it at 1. And then on save, I'm just going to go ahead and print. Occitel deep to string cell door counts. And that way we'll go in game, provided nothing blows up. We will visit a few towns. And we'll have an idea about some counts, door counts, hopefully. All right. Yeah, okay. We made some naive assumptions here on line 73. Yeah. Oh, no, we didn't just make a naive assumption. We just completely botched some scope here. Will that even work? That's what I was trying to do with Python yesterday and utterly failed. Okay. And I want to take this out for now, just to reduce our noise. All right. That's no good. Oh, we're getting there, though. Okay. Same line. Just what I did was probably no good. Let's try this. Excellent. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Very good. This is the kind of output that made developing, you know, something complicated like Go Home actually doable for a mere mortal with a grug brain like me. So this is just all the doors we have in Satanine, marked as lockable or unmanaged, you know, as appropriate. Now let's see if we get our count. 25. Wow. Awesome. 25 doors seems like a lot. Okay, well, I mean, I guess I never really looked in the CS, you know. Altarios probably knows exactly what my threshold is going to be. Let's just fly around real quick, go to a couple different cities here. Oh, and this is BCOM too. So this will actually be kind of a neat test. Yeah, House of Earthly Delights. You know that door never locks. Oh my, okay. Come on, you can do it. There you go. We're going to want to actually... Balmora has lots of doors. Holy moly. I was talking about how many doors makes a village versus like a city. I'm trying to, just determine that through raw data collection, but I wonder, you probably have an idea. Okay. Whoop. And this isn't even with my completed code to actually find more doors, right? Because we're not just shacks and houses. We're going to want to maybe lock businesses. Maybe some businesses sometimes don't lock. This is one of the things I liked about making Go Home is I was able to sprinkle randomness everywhere. So not every NPC does the same thing every night. We want maybe not every door does the same thing every night. Maybe Fargoth's having a party tonight. All right. Let's just save it right now and see what we got. Okay. I'm gonna actually so this is some really interesting numbers here. We are only collecting cyanide and fiberglass. Welcome. Thank you. You're right. Interesting. Okay. Tiers villages, more than 15 towns of 1529. Okay, interesting. So let's go ahead and, you got Caldera Priory in here, even in the mix. Let's just look at this output. Magnified. So Sadrith Mora and Ebonheart, I think it's interesting. So Sadanin considered a town then. Bal-Ur just being a named place. We captured data for it. Huh, interesting. We would probably do something with Vivek, like what I do with Signpost Fast Travel, where I consider all the Vivek cells. I have a special case to handle that. Wolverine Hall, we would want to maybe add that into Sadrith Mora. I don't know, but this count is already really high. I think we can go ahead and use that metric, though. Village, is kind of the 15 to 30 range, and a town would maybe be, or I'm sorry, town 15 to 30, village before that, and then like a city would be, these monsters here. Yeah, that's probably why I'll do some special handling for it to just have one Vivek count for all the things, maybe. I don't know. All right, well, this is just merely interesting. We're going to go ahead and put down this tidbit in the code here, though. And according to Eltariel, Project Tamriel metrics here. So we have village 15, town 1529, city 20, 30 plus. Thank you for that. So in addition to having a complete tier table, because why is this important to us? It's important to us because whether it's the size of the village will factor into maybe how likely a door is to lock. Potentially, right? That's one thing we can look at. I'm not going to exactly bang it out now, but assuming we're going to go that route, we'll need then a tier table that's completed, and we'll need also, we'll want to wait. We want weights on houses versus businesses, I think, right? Like, I think it's more likely for a pawnbroker to maybe be up all night than an armor. Like, if I'm an armor, I don't know. Maybe I might want to be working all night, but probably not. You know, so stuff like that. We'll have to make tiers for these as well. For now, we're just going to keep it simple. All right. Okay. I'm just going to keep this code in here for now, but eventually we'll just, I don't know, we'll probably... We'll end up using it. We'll have to store it somehow. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But what we'll want to do is we'll want to do something here. We want to count doors and cells that don't have a name. Let's see here what I do. Here's steal code from past me. Yeah, here we go. Excellent. We take a vector 3 and we turn it into a string. I would love to see code like this included in OpenMW-Lua proper someday, you know, just like a helpful things that everybody has to do kind of a thing. All right. Oh, you know what? No. We're going to do XY to string, though. XY to string. In signpost fast travel, we do vec3 to string because I'm storing travel destination points that we generate procedurally, and so we need like a very quick way to, because you cannot serialize a vector. Vec3. I don't think. I don't know. I believe that's why I invented this pattern. All right. So we have XY to string now. Now we should catch them for everything. And we just have a wonky fake name for cells without a name that clues us into what it is based on its XY coordinate. Excuse me. All right. I just want to see that work. There aren't going to be a lot of doors and cells without names, but there will be some. And we want to maybe lock those too. Farmers in the wilderness would lock maybe their door. I don't know. Some people out here in the country don't do that. Hello. I wonder, is this something as simple as like... We're going to go down a slight rabbit hole here. Hold on. If I'm like somehow on like a... Okay, you know, I'm not looking at you. is something in like proc or something. I used to do this. Here we go. Sys devices, yeah. If you're wondering what's going on, in Linux, we got funky ways of interfacing with our hardware. Cool, okay, cool. Power safe. Huh. Well, there you go. Need to make sure. Yeah, okay. This is the right way to do it. But I'm going to do it. All right. Echo performance. This is how you do it, my friends. When everything is a file. Here we go. There we go. I hope there's no more lagging, and I sincerely apologize for an hour and 15 minutes of lag. All right. In fact, let's try to bring the MOMW squad back in the mix here. Now that I've underped my laptop. Can we do this? This might be a bad idea. Hey.
How's it going?
Gonzo, welcome back. All right. What's that cyanide? You can am I coming in a little bit more clear now? Less lag and stuff? I hope. Please forgive me about all that nonsense. Wow. Yeah, didn't think Gonzo to check CPU governor all day.
Yeah.
Well, I put it on performance just because when I'm around the house, I'll No, I don't know who you are. Sorry, my bad. When I bring my laptop into my jam room and stuff, I want to
What's
keep
up,
it on
baby?
battery.
Oh, it's Sector. What's up?
Wait, so are you cyanide here? Is that what's going on? Oh, I think it's still... Wow, I didn't...
Yeah, that is me. I apologize.
Okay, no, you good, buddy. You good. I don't think this totally fixed the issue, though. I'm still kind of lagging here.
Yeah, true. You're right.
Certainly didn't help things, I would reckon. Well, I'm going to keep rolling with this for a while. We'll see. We'll see how bad it gets. All right. Just give me a bunch of cities.
Man, I really don't remember this being a big deal in the past.
It totally wasn't, and I did not change, computers or anything like that. Oh, come on now. So yeah, I'm not. I'm a little mystified, but we'll get to the bottom of it. Okay, I wanted to come over here because whoops. Look at it go. I wanted to come over here because there are some wilderness huts, including this fella right here. Wow. Well. All right, it's looking okay now, but if it lags out again, I'm going to have to leave you, friends, again.
It's worth testing things out.
Yeah. Cool, so I got a boatload of doors in the wilderness here, including some cities. I just want to see the output, including wilderness doors here. Cool. Yeah, so you don't have a name, that becomes your name. And yeah, a lot of these 1, 2, like, wow, 1, 9. That's 7 doors out there. That must be... I'm actually really curious where the heck that is. -1, -9. Oh, okay. Interesting. So I guess some of these doors are Satanine, but not. Maybe? Or maybe some of my mods, right? I've got Abandoned Flat adding this one. All right, I'm dropping off, friends. I'm so sorry.
All right.
We got to nail this.
I got you, buddy. It's okay.
I got to figure out what's going on with my stuff. All right. Hopefully it'll be better at least. Discord is a resource hog, and the browser version is what I'm using, so yeah. I'm an old man. All right. Great. Anyway, it's not important what that cell was. I was mostly morbidly curious. Okay. But importantly, you'll note that as we return to places I've been before, we're not getting, oh, this is a door I care about output all over again, right? That only happens the first time we go somewhere where it tells us, you know, you don't want to be that mod that's making people's stuff lag. You don't want to do that. All right. So this is important information, and it's going to be here to stay. We're basically at the point now where we have to start kind of planning, like, okay, how will we lock a door? When will we do it? And how much will we lock it? Oh, yeah, geez, just my laptop is not happy today. What is... This is a disgrace, really. I'm performance mode still. Nothing changed. Okay. Yeah, OBS says the encoder is getting overloaded, so I don't know. I really got to look into if there's some specific Intel sauce. Anyways, we got to think about when we're locking it and how much we're locking it. When we're locking it, I think is relatively simple. Daytime unlocked for a business. You know, nighttime, it depends. So maybe actually we want to come here. This is probably too general of some code, right? Like we probably want to have 2 different ways of filtering doors. We want to know if something is a home. And then we want to know maybe if something is a business. So is lockable home. Is lockable business. And another thing that I should note, that I should do as some homework off the stream, is take a look at Abbott's implementation. Abbott actually wrote an MWSC mod that does this, I believe. Should look at what he does, just to get an idea. Okay, lockable home, so none of this applies. Well, most of these don't apply. Some people live in their businesses too. You know, those would be people who would lock their doors most of the time, probably. All right. Just put all these in here. Right? Yep. Those will... So what will happen with stuff like that... Good call out, Gonzo. And what will happen with stuff like that is they will fall through and simply become unmanaged. And whatever Todd intended for them will be so. This is the as Todd intended flag right here. Not to give Todd credit for every single door's fate, of course. All right. Some really boring code here, but we got to do it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. In fact, that's a good call out, Hunger. Yeah. I'm curious now, how many doors are in Margan? You know? Because that is definitely like a hub. Like I'm going from here to there. Woof. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I need to unbreak my code that I broke. We won't worry about using the business method just yet. Yeah, for sure, right? I don't know. This is just kind of like we talked a little bit yesterday about like Lua mod creation patterns and tips, and I mean, this is just how I do things. You know, I like to zero in on kind of what I'm focusing on, and then yeah, just like counting the doors as relevant, right? So, and printing things to the console or the log is just a great way, you know. Puts debugging, they call it, or print-driven debugging. All right. Margan, actually kind of on the low side, you know. So yeah, we may have to have some kind of a variable to say, like, you know, despite the low door count, you know, this is a business hub as needed, right? And that's the difficulty when you're making a dynamic feature for content that was not designed to support that dynamic feature. Is lockable business? So this is what we're probably gonna do here. Yeah, personally, I'm... That's an interesting thought. I'm really curious to get into the details about how a lot of Oblivion mechanics were implemented. Skyrim as well. NPC schedules in particular seem a bit more wild in Oblivion, you know. I think they dialed them back a little for Skyrim. That'll be interesting to look at. Okay, so we want to say, instead of like duplicating a bunch of code, in case you're wondering what I'm doing here. Data. just occurred to me, do we want to have, instead of a business true false field, do we want to have like a door kind field that says home, business? But I'm not really sure like of a third category of doors that we manage, right? Like all of these are businesses. A monk that will train you, that's technically a business. And then these are homes. Yeah, I'm going with this for now. And actually, we don't need this. We can just default it to false. No. My autocomplete just going haywire on me. And we're going to say we do need I was thinking we wouldn't need this branch, but we do need it to at least just record the data. But we're just recording the default data with nothing being done to it. And here, we're going to go ahead and do the same. But first, we're going to say data business true. So you can say this is wasteful code. Potentially, but I think when we get here, this is certainly a door that we care about. Well, no, not certainly. So you could say this is wasteful because we're generating data for doors that we don't necessarily care about, just so we can save a couple lines of code. I'm like extra sensitive to performance lately, so this feels like a smell right now. I'm actually going to back off from doing this. Johnny, why are you so paranoid? Well, because what happens is in a Lua script, every time you do something like this, we're creating an object, a thing. We're allocating memory. And much like how my stream is lagging periodically, what happens is the OpenMW engine hits a threshold for how many objects it has, you know, just how many variables I've carelessly created throughout my code. Every time I said local something equals something, it will do what's called a garbage collection, which means it's going to get rid of things that it created that aren't being used. That process is not free. And what I've noticed in my game with 160, 50 scripts running is every so often you'll see a garbage collection happen. How do you know a garbage collection happens? I'll show you. With a corresponding drop in frame rate. So if you hit F4 once, if you can see in the lower right-hand corner of my screen here, it says Lua used memory. And you'll note that it's just kind of, it's like going up and then dropping and then up and then dropping. If we had a graph for it, you would see it kind of doing like a valleys kind of a thing here. And that's what I just described. You have Lua scripts. It's totally normal to go up and down like that because Lua scripts are working. They are putting objects on the stack, and memory usage is kind of like ballooning. It can become problematic, though, as I mentioned before, when you have pushing 200 scripts all doing that, and then you start to have frame rate issues. So that's why I'm like sitting here kind of like, you know, I don't want to be that guy who's killing everyone's frame rate. So we're gonna back out on this for now. And definitely sometime I need to prove that this is increasing memory usage. And I would do that probably by recording the Lua memory number that I get. It would probably be difficult to show without a graph. Great question. Is it possible to lazy load the garbage collection? So that's something that we don't, obviously in scripts, we don't have a lot of control over that. That's something in the engine. But I do believe that there is potentially room for adjustment there at the engine level. Maybe there's certain ways to handle the GC for light loads, and then there's ways to handle it for heavy loads. I don't know. That's definitely on my list of things I want to look at. Maybe a future stream when I unbork my stream and we can have Sector on the stream and we can do some engine kind of poking and see. But that's a great question. There's something there for sure. I don't know what. All right. For now, we're just going to try to be a good script citizen and not thoughtlessly create objects. Only going to make that table, which the table itself is not, we're getting the lock level and just a lot of things. It's not really a free thing. So we're only doing that when it's something that we care about. Okay. And then we're going to say, excuse, we need to bring this code here somewhere else now. Actually, it needs to go right here. If it's not a lockable home, if it's not a lockable business, then it's something we don't care about. And this little branch can go away. And actually, in the interest of nesting less, what are you doing, Johnny? I am bailing out if we're in the blacklist. Instead of like having nested code, I find stylistically it's a bit easier to read. If rather than just nesting again with a if not, we just say if it is blacklisted, then just, you know. And actually, this isn't exactly what we want to do. We don't want to return. What do we want to do, Johnny? We want to do... Do we? Wait, maybe we do want to... Yeah, okay, it's safe to return here. I was starting to think, do we want to go back? Are we in a loop? We're not in a loop. We don't want to return. This is fine. The door has been active. It is a door, but it's blacklisted. Poof, you know. Oh, you know what? No. Return is not fine. Because we want to make it a seen door that is unmanaged. Very good. So if it's blacklisted, it's explicitly unmanaged. And we don't want to say it's blacklisted every time. We're going to bail out on the very first line of the activation. All right. Great. Gonna whack that out of there. We're not touching key record. Actually, I'm gonna... I'm going to leave this a table for now, but it's possible I might simplify this data structure. I'm just thinking there might be something I'm not thinking about right now that I might care about later, you know. That was the case with Go Home NPC schedules, and I was glad I captured some data that I didn't immediately know the use for. All right. This is going to stay here. Wow, okay. Actually, so aside from the to-do, so we can knock that out. You know, aside from various to-dos of adding to, you know, things that are blacklisted or whatever, this is basically all the code right here. Is it a door? Is it blacklisted? You know, let's not do more work when I'm preaching about doing less work. In the name of, is it a cell, and is it something that we care about in the name of not nesting too much? Very good. There we If it's not blacklisted and it's a kind of a door that we care about, it goes somewhere, and as a home or business, then, you know, store that. And so this basically puts us in a position, for now at least, where we can do our timer thing. And so my initial plan of looping through the scene doors and doing something with ones that are nearby on a timer, I think is okay. We're going to have to just see performance-wise how it looks. And I'm going to do that here on the stream, just with the caveat that we've got, unhandled performance issues with my laptop going on that are making things less fun. So, and I also would like to add an interface, global interface, to print out this information too. That's very long. I'm going to keep it, though. I'm just going to put that there for now so I don't forget. Okay. So how do you do a timer? We have the aux time package. There's some code in here. Register. No, geez. What does that matter? Click the right thing. Run repeatedly. This is the one we want. And it does possibly what you think it does. It takes a little bit of code and it will run it on a repeated interval here. This Nearvar Rising. Skywind. What can I say? Okay, so yeah. And this might be a little confusing, but when you call run repeatedly, it returns a function that you can use to stop the repetition. So you have control over not only running the thing repeatedly at an interval, but you can also stop that. This would be, for example, useful if we let the interval be configurable. We would want to stop it and rerun it if the user changed that. Go Home does this. But there's other reasons as well. My distant fixes mod does this run repeatedly function in order to check if a quest update happens, and then when it does, it stops itself. It doesn't need to go forever, right? So this is actually really a fantastic little module here. Let's come up here and enable it. Yes, that is correct. Okay. I don't call it aux time, by the way, in case you're wondering, but you called that one aux util. Why not this one, aux time? It's just typing less. There is actually a plain old util module, and I don't want to mix them up in case I decide to use that here. Util, for example, contains the vector type and stuff, so I might use it. Maybe not. Okay. So what we'll do is then, it's not an engine handler or anything like that. It's just a thing you run in the script body. And if you're not familiar with the term in the script body, I mean not in a function, not return, just right here. Run repeatedly. So in a perfect world, we have our language server would tell us how to use this function. Maybe someday. For now, we'll just come back here. It need not be an anonymous function, meaning just if I say function like this. This is an anonymous function. It has no name. It's just a function because I need one right here. It need not be an anonymous function, but it might as well be unless you have a good need to. It's important, though. This function cannot take any arguments. Okay. Anything that it uses has to come from the scope of the rest of the code of wherever it is. So number would be the second argument here, and that is our interval. And I'm just going to put 1 there. And here I'm going to put print hello time. And then, yes, okay. There's default values here for this options table. I like to actually explicitly set those to the defaults. That way future me is aware that it's a thing. And I'm going to say initial delay. 1 second. I want this to be a simulation time type, which again is the default. Simulation time being like the game running, not when the game is paused. Like I hit escape, the game is paused. We don't count that. We only care about when the game is running to check if a door needs to be locked, right? All right. Well, so what does this look like? What does this look like when I run the game? You shall see. You can do it, laptop. Ooh. Hello, Todd happened at least, right? But something happened. Something else happened here. All right, 53. Let's go. Silly me. It is an error in Lua to index a table that is not a table yet. That's what blew up here. So now, instead of just saying, is it unmanaged, I'm saying, is it seen and is it unmanaged? That's an important distinction to make. All right. And by the way, yeah, here we go. Look, it's my timer. It's running. We're saying hello, Todd, every second, basically, more or less. It's plus or minus some just because my laptop is potatoing out, but you can see it down there. Hello, Todd. We'll even just... Come on now. There you go. Come on. So, yeah. We'll go back and look at my code here to reflect on what all just happened. But this is going to be the core of the door locking mod now. It's just going to happen right here. We're going to run a couple of functions against the door. We're going to say if data managed. And suddenly, we've got a little loop here. Look at that. Let's do it a half second. Johnny, that's crazy. What are you doing? Just watch. No. There we go. Don't actually care about the game. There we go. Ooh. All right, what's happening now? We're saying hello, Todd, for every managed door that we have. Not something that you want to do. This is a bad... So the one thing about this is that the complexity and the amount of computation time required to handle this scales linearly with the number of doors that we've seen. That's why it's important to have a simple way to filter out doors. And then also the is this near to the player check will further filter that out. And again, I found that in developing Go Home, it's not that expensive. You're still creating objects on the stack and all that and chattering with events, but it's not that bad. Data object. Now let's just get another view here at, okay, you're done now. Thank you, Todd. Let's just get another view of what we're dealing with here. Load the town. And here we go. And you can see here, it's just, you know, to loop through this stuff, it's like pretty quick. So I think it will not be a big performance issue. All right. We're going to need a player script now. Okay. And so what we'll do is we'll send the door position to the player. Because again, we're trying at all costs to make sure we're doing as little work as possible. We want to just cheap out and do as little as possible. We're going to send the coordinates of the door to the player, and we're going to say, is this close? Within one cell, maybe. I'm going to actually look at Go Home and use the value that I use for NPCs loading, which I think is a little bit under one cell. We'll check it out. I'm going to use that. But we want to do as little as possible, and vector math on some read-only vectors is not that expensive. So how do you do that? Okay, so we're in the player script over here. Very important before we do anything. We have our OMW scripts file here, which this is the plugin that the player will load to use our mod. Now, in order to run the new code, we need to say player. This is a player script. This is the file. That's it. And now here we are. And so first thing we're going to do is we're going to say event. So you'll note down here, I say engine handlers. And engine handlers are predefined things that you can hook into that come with OpenMW. Event handlers are as well, but also I can implement my own events. I can't implement an engine handler unless I change the C++ code of OpenMW, but I can certainly create my own events as needed. And so this event, let's just call it is loco. Come on now. And we're going to leave this right here for now. And so events, you need to, it's a best practice to not just say my event is local, because then that's going to put in the scope of every script an event called is local. It's only polite to namespace it. Okay, so this is go home door locks is local. Okay. Oh. My language server just can't keep up with me, nor can my laptop. All right. So now here we have said there is an event called MOMW-GHDL is local. Okay. And what we're going to do, this is where things are going to start to get a little complicated, but you know, thankfully I have hoop jumping experience. We're going to say we need to add a new package here, local. Ooh, no. We need the world package. Yeah, we do local world. Because that's how we get access to the player. The world package provides access to players because OpenMW is planned to be multiplayer. It's true. And we're already designing the API with more than one player in mind. Of course, OpenMW is not presently multiplayer capable, so a list of players only ever has one player. Now, I've seen some code out there, Lua mods, that do the right thing and loop through world players as if it's a list. Me, myself, I hard code it. And when the time comes, we can cross that bridge, you know, when we need to and say, okay, this code needs to care about more than one player. For now, there is no multiplayer, so we're going to pretend that that's going to be the case for a while. Okay, and so we're going to go right here. We'll just say and I'm kind of memoizing it here versus like doing a world players lookup every bit of data we have. I'm paranoid about performance, so it's a term you can look it up, memoizing, just putting something kind of there in the memory and using it repeatedly versus spawning multiple lookups. So we're going to do player send event. And this is how, from a global script, you run code on the player, right? Because some things can only happen on the player. Actually, I might not even need to do an event for this. As I'm talking this through myself, I'm realizing, hey, wait a minute. Do I not have the player position? No event will be needed at all. Potentially. Whew. And this kind of future-proofs the code for multiplayer even, because what happens is now multiplayer does not exist for OpenMW, so I am just theorizing here. But let's say multiplayer exists. When you have a global script sending event to a player, that's akin to like the server sending, data packets and all kinds of stuff to the player. I mean, that takes effort. All right, wow, look at this. No event needed. Beautiful. All right, I'm just going to kill that for now. So we can say player position minus data position. Ooh, we're getting closer to something. I'll cut it with the Todd spam. I'll leave that there. All right. This actually makes me think of some optimizations I can do for go home and PC schedules, because I am doing some distance checks there. Anyway, let's load it up and see what we get. And then we can take a look at the value I'm using for go home, which I believe is a cell plus or minus. I apologize about the technical difficulties today. I don't know what's going on. I need to get good. Stay tuned. But I do plan to have more semi-regular streams. Maybe not every single weekend, but as we go through the summer. Cool. Look at this. So yeah, I will work this out though before I come back and make you lag through me. So this actually, as I move, hold up, these should all change because I'm like getting further or closer. These numbers will all get really big the further I get away. You can see at the bottom of the screen there. I'm basically taking XYZ of the player minus XYZ of the door and getting that difference. But wait, what do you do with this, Johnny? Yeah, well, I actually forgot one thing. What we're getting here... Come on, man. I gotta sanity check myself. Hold up. Length. Okay. Huh. How does it... Hey, Santa. Jeez, where you been? I'm glad you joined in. I'm actually going to run a little late today, so hey, welcome, my dude. Okay, well, this is a real method. God darn it. Oh, geez. Here we go. Language server is right. There is no length to print. Here we go. So this is what we're going to be looking at here. This is going to give us our distance between the door and the player. Let's go. And then, so when we know if it's a nearby within the active grid door, then we know, okay, this is something that we probably should care about. Like, imagine you're playing the game, you've gone to Tamriel Rebuilt, you've been to Old Ebonheart, you've been to Port Tilvanus, you've been to all the, just fantastic, huge cities. There we go, look at that. Now you've got like a seen doors table that's quite large though, right? Potentially thousands of doors that you've seen. We don't want to like mess around with touching every single one every time, right? We want to kind of filter those down to ones that are close. And so yeah, this number that we got here, units would be the game, the thing that the game uses to represent distance, and 8196, I believe, is the unit. Let's look. Right, I have a common one cell, yeah, one cell, 8192. I'm gonna put this up here for now. And so we're going to say if it's managed and if it's within a cell. Let's lock it. OpenMW language server. Yeah. Wicked Kane. Hello. And thank you for joining and thank you for calling that out. Actually, I am, as yet another project, I am working on language server support for OpenMW-Lua. Got some feedback from the dev team about that actually earlier this week. Our friend in modding it on the dev team, has implemented a generation scheme for teal, which is type Lua, and I'm going to basically take that code and leverage it to generate definitions for language server. So stay tuned, it's coming. Because yeah, it would be so nice, right, to like say, yeah, just world, give me all the things. Right now, it just gives me the things I've already defined because Emacs. Yeah, it's coming. It's going to be sick. And I'm definitely looking. So I use Emacs, but, this will be great for VS Code users, Kakune users, Zed users, any modern editor that has NeoVim, that has LSP support will be able to benefit from this. All right. Excuse me. So if it's managed, we want to capture the length. And we want to say if less than or equal to 1 cell units. And let's see, examine door. I'm just going to call this examine door for now. I'm pulling this out of here, basically, because I'm just tired of looking at the extra indenting. All right. Examine door. Again, it cannot have any arguments. Okay. All right. I'm actually glad I have this open. This is my common code file for Go Home. And you can see here there's some stuff in here that's potentially interesting. Whoops, let's zoom in, not out. Is daytime, is nighttime, game hour. This is some code that's going to be important to me. Because at this point, what we're going to do here is an examine door right here where I say do things. Indeed, we're going to do things. We're going to decide, like, does this door lock? And is daytime, is nighttime are but two things that we're going to need to consider. And we're going to have some kind of weighting that is going to be a work in progress. Ooh, also looking up here, you're going to need to do a few things too here. We can rip this out, right, and put it into here. What's that code do? This is the code that says if an incompatible mod is loaded, complain and tell the user not to do that. We're going to do that really early on here. Right. Go home, door locks. All right. Maybe next week on the stream, too, what we'll do is we'll fire up MWSC and we'll take a look at Abbott's mod. That might be a fun little examination. And we can put Abbott as credit as inspiration. Our friend Abbott is my friend. All right, so let's just go ahead and copy this pattern here. And so real quick, what's going on up here? I am looking for errors when the mod loads. And if there are errors, we print it to the user, and hopefully if they know to look there, they will see them and have an idea of what's wrong. Versus just blowing up with some crap like, error, this is not that, or something that requires a programmer's eye to look at. I picked an arbitrary API point here, 61. That's actually when I personally merged some stuff into OpenMW for Go Home. So we're just going to keep that as a target. But when 0.49 launches, I'll probably raise this to whatever number it'll be at, maybe in the 70s by then, depending on how many times we bump it, if we do. All right. I was going to copy all this. Except we don't care about that. We don't need the OMW add-on. The OMW add-on is required here. Ooh. No. Because, I'll finish my sentence. It's required here because this is what gives us insight into what the weather is. There's no Lua-based way to do that. We use the MW script bridge to have MW script code that runs to tell us the weather, and then we yank it out of MW script. Hacky, perhaps. But it does just work, actually. And is quite performant. As it needs to be. So, all right. So if you load this mod with the nighttime door locks mod of Yore, it will blow up. And now Go Home no longer cares if you load it alongside that, but we still do care, right? If you do have this or if you don't have that. And yeah, okay, cool. We're also going to cargo cult a couple other lines here. Okay, and so just as a basic implementation, before we end the stream today, I want to have a basic implementation of just blanket unlock every door during the day and lock them at night. And then we can say our proof of concept exists at least, so we can fine tune it, right? And have it be sort of more interesting. But for now, just to say we have something. All right. Yes. Okay. So it is a close by door. We're going to say if is daytime. And it is a game hour. And our AM, we're going to say, is 7 a.m. We're early risers. Excuse me, in Vardenfell. Actually, I think that's a number. Coffee burps. And nighttime will be, let's say, 9 p.m. Okay. It's daytime, yay, okay. And then we're going to say else if my computer will stop being potato. Is nighttime. Same function call signature there, it just wants the same information. Wow, look at that. Suddenly now, we have code that runs during day and code that runs at night. Okay. So this is not even going to be remotely close to the final code. But again, we're just doing something dynamic here for fun. We're going to say, if it's daytime, data, type. Let's go back to the docs here before I fudge it. Lockable. We're looking at lockable here. Lock level. We're going to put 100 level lock on everything too, just for fun. And then there's the unlock. Okay. Daytime. So type unlock data obj. What is the, my language server is really geeking out right now. And there we go. All right. So all right, right, let's take it a step further. Let's not be too sloppy here, right? Let's say if, right, what do we got here? Is locked data. So actually, what now, Johnny? What are you gonna do? Just want to save myself on typing. It's another allocation on the stack. Is locked. Unlock it. Okay. Are you ready? So what's going to happen here is if during the day all locks that we manage are just simply going to unlock, and at nighttime they're going to lock with a level 100 lock, provided nothing blows up, of course. Ooh, look at that. Would you look at that? I just left the game running. My laptop is warm. Ooh. All right. Let's make sure I'm not printing any nonsense. Aside from this, of course. Okay. So what we'll see then is right away we'll see like Fargoth's house, Vadius Nucleus, etc. Their doors will unlock. We'll get something in the console here. Hopefully not red text. Yeah, okay. Hey, look at that. Okay, so it's daytime means that some unlockings happen, presumably, right? Let's go to our friend Fargoth. Oh, unlocked. Thank you, Fargoth. I love you. Okay, wait. So now, let's go ahead and set game hour to 22. It's nighttime, it says in the console. Did you catch that? All right, now let's see my guy Fargoth over here. Locked it up. Locked up tight. All right, let's, 12 noon. Unlocked. Locked up. Look at that. We did it. All right. Wow. Feels pretty good. Wasn't that complicated. I already had a pretty good idea of how to do this, but where do we go from here, right? Because this is not what the feature looks like. No. Hey, Yanni. What's up? My brother's dog, Yanni, just wants to be on the stream. I'm sorry, bro. I can't get you on the camera. This isn't exactly how we want to do this, right? We want to be smart about how we're locking the door. We don't want to just, do this, but I think this proves that our overall pattern can work. And also, just to prove out another thing that we did, let's leave Satanin, and let's prove out that we're only locking a few doors each night, right? We'll actually travel to Alderun. And what I'm doing is, yeah, it's my brother's dog, man. My brother's dog he got from Greece last year. Yanni is a Greek pup. And, yeah. We're actually going to be pup sitting Yanni in July. So you got to get your butt over here, my friend. Oh, wait. It's your birthday soon, too. I know that. You old man. All right. See, okay, so yeah, some doors were unlocked. This is great. See, Satanin. Now we're going to come back here, and I'm going to make it nighttime, and we're only going to see the local doors lock. No, it's not my birthday soon. Don't say that. All right. We just traveled to 3 or 4 different cities. We certainly have hundreds of doors saved up, but we only locked the nearby ones. That code works pretty good, I think. And so, wow, okay, what happens under the hood, though, before we depart for the day? So what's important to look at right here? You've got up here this Lua. You got all these bars going haywire. We've got this Lua count here. Yeah, see, it's interesting because the async bar really goes nutso when my laptop potatoes, but also the GPU, which is a CPU GPU, which sharing the CPU GPU with OBS is the crux of the issue here. Anyways, so we see this number here in the lower right-hand corner, Lua memory. It's hovering around like 4 million something, 4.5 million. units of memory. Now, if I change it to daytime, and back and back and back, we don't really see like a substantial jump. You know, it's worth noting that quite a few internal OpenMW components are implemented in Lua, so it's not just my code that's running. You got the camera, you got several other things that are implemented in Lua, NPCs Avoid, I believe. So that's why you're seeing a lot of activity here, but note that my door locking doesn't put a dent. In fact, you can't really... It's like hard with my puny human eyes to notice really anything at all. So... Why is that important? That just is a little reassurance that we're not going to ruin people's frame rate, because that's really what we care about. So, wow, all right. Where do we go from here? Yeah, where do we go from here? We need to decide. We need to generate like a probability of a door lock. Rather than just blanket lock and unlock, we need to have a function that is door lock probability. I don't like that name at all because it's too long, but I'm just going to keep it for now. But so we'll have this, right? We'll say we'll give it like the obj ID or just ID. And so, or something. We'll give it something. And this code would be the one that says, okay, you're a home, you're a business, it's nighttime, it's a city, it's not a city, you know, this, that, the other thing. And this is something we could build out in future streams, or I might build out in my free time. But yeah, you know, and this is where looking at Abbott's mod would also be pretty interesting. How is he doing this? What did he decide to use, you know, to determine what happens and when? It'll be a very interesting reference. So, but for now, this is cool. I'm very happy with this. We picked out doors we cared about. We picked out when we want to care about them and how we want to care about them, locking them with 100, unlocking them, and so forth. And it all works pretty well. We did a very basic look at the performance metrics of our code. We're totally not spamming. Wicked Cane. Yeah, very good call out. Okay. Yeah. So very, very good call out. Let's look at this right now. F10 shows mod-specific performance information in Lua. Yes. However, let's put that on. This is something, if you are not developing a Lua mod, I strongly encourage you to turn this off. And actually, if you go to moddingopenmw.com, let's go there right now, and you get one of our mod lists and you use our config, we're actually going to, out of the box, give you a config that turns it off. Because the Lua profiler F10, which Wicked Cane just spoke of, is not for free. It's not it costs CPU and accounting on the behalf of the engine. So we want players to turn it off, and you should. But if you're building a mod like I am, you want to turn it on because you need to know that information. It is not. This information is good to look at, and when you're performance profiling a mod, you want to look at it. Ooh, this is really interesting. So you can see here, ooh. I actually haven't looked at this particular flag in a minute, but you can see. Even while the console is closed, yeah, exactly, because it's basically always running in the background and tracking. So what it shows you, let me just show you what it's showing you for those that have never looked at it. It's constantly keeping track of the operations count. So this is column right here. It says ops. That's like things that you're doing in general. It's very unspecific. And then you have active and inactive memory. And it is keeping track of total memory counts, allocations, you know. And so if I hit escape there and pause the game, you get very different readouts, right? So it's important to keep that in mind. This is a mod window that you can resize, though, so we can do something like this. Come on now. There we go. All right. So I can hit escape, And now I've got my scripts up here always in view. And so you can see it's doing stuff. The ops count is doing stuff. And that's my timer. Every half second, I think I made it, it's looping through all the doors that I have. So if we go, let's just start going places, right? Laptop's about to melt. Okay, yeah, see a little spike there. It's getting into the 600s, trying to decide to do things while my whole computer in general is melting. Because we had a lot of doors activate there. This is why, by the way, we don't want to do this every time we load a cell, right? And under normal circumstances, when you are not streaming while playing on an integrated Intel GPU, you're not going to see a spike like this either. This is just me being in a contrived scenario. Another jump there, see? But now if we go back to Balmora, a little bit of a jump as we're deciding if we do the work. But it wasn't quite as high. It would be really interesting to, on a graph, compare, but obviously we're doing less work. But we're not doing that much work, is what that tells me in this function here where we decide if we want to do something. Really not doing that much, right? Either we're bailing out right away or we're bailing out a little bit sooner or we're just putting some stuff into a table. So this isn't really a lot of work. It's not that bad. But it is stuff. A scene with 70 doors has to do this 70 times. So what I might do to further reduce the performance impact of this is I might say, do this on a random delay, right? Like when you load a cell on a random delay, 1 to 5 seconds, do it, asynchronously. And that way it's not every door all at once. It's like over 5 seconds, we're spreading it out, and we're doing it asynchronously. So these are, one weird trick we could do, and this could apply to Go Home as well. Things we might do in the future. So yeah, all right, well, I believe it's about that time. And I want to thank everybody for joining today. This was a fun hacking session looking at OpenMW-Lua, and look forward to more. So have a lovely day and happy modding. Cheers.